Good evening and welcome to day 10 of the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. It is Humor Day and we are excited to be here. My name is LD Robinson and I am your reader for tonight here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, or as we call it, TIGBRAD. It is a place where we're giving voice to words written by Black people all around the world. And we give voice to books from every type of genre possible, as much as we can. Each day, a different genre in the month of February. And hopefully, this year we'll stick to our original plan throughout the year. And so, we hope you will continue to tune in and listen. And we thank you for watching and listening to the Read Alouds. It really is a pleasure for us to introduce or present some of all of the books that we have over the past, this been our sixth year. So, over the past 5 years, and including this year, it is a pleasure to us to provide all these different authors with all these different perspectives, ways of writing, and making us think and laugh and cry, and all of those things. And so today is Humor Day. And we want to, before we get started, we want to make sure that we remind you that we read here for educational purposes. Our goal is to encourage the exploration, the purchase, and reading of books written by Black authors. Okay. And so we hope you are tuned in and will continue to tune in, and that when you go to the bookstore or you go online, that you are taking some time to consciously purchase books by Black authors. All right. We do the same here. We buy plenty of books and we encourage you to do the same. And so today is Humor Day, and we will read. And we have two selections for today for humor because I really couldn't decide between the two of them. And so I'm going to read a portion from each one, and I think you will enjoy them both. And so our selections for today, one is Successful Failure, Lessons Learned Flat on My Face by Kevin Fredericks, otherwise known as Kev on Stage. And Help is on the Way, Stay Up and Live Your Truth by Country Wayne. And so we're going to put up the cover for our first read, and that will come from Successful Failure, Lessons Learned Flat on My Face by none other than Mr. Kevin Fredericks, fresh off the press. And so we just love reading. Okay. And so that's what we're going to read today. And let's get started. And this is just from the introduction because this is a piece that just had me rolling. So we'll read it. I first saw the signs as a child. I can't remember when I happened upon the first one, but even then, as a kid barely older than 10, I knew precisely what those signs meant for me. They signaled that I was preordained to be so much more than what the world expected of a little Black boy from working class West Texas. I was meant to be big. And each time I saw the signs on TV or on family trips or in print, I grew ever more convinced. The signs called to me constantly, blaring my destiny with loud, brazen, neon assuredness. Fredericks of Hollywood. I mean, what else could that stand for, right? Okay, so yeah, I found out later that it stood for silky lingerie and skimpy drawers. But back then, I ain't know that. As a kid growing up with vague hopes of being some sort of entertainer one day, those Fredericks of Hollywood signs were my North Star, a sure indicator that my dreams would eventually be realized and my life would be defined by legitimate success. The dreams come true part was accurate. As of this writing, I've done multiple comedy tours that have been sold out in churches and other venues across the United States and the world. I've got enough followers on X, YouTube, and Instagram combined to populate a major city. I've got a TV show that airs on a major streaming service. I'm in a loving marriage that has produced two. Oh, I'm just reading away, and let me take off. Let me put myself back. Let's take off our media. Okay, there we are. I've got a major TV show that airs on a major streaming service. I'm in a loving marriage that has produced two wonderful sons and a best selling book. I've done promotional work for OnStar, Bevel, McDonald's, Walgreens, and a bunch of other big name companies. I'm earning more money than ever before. But what the signs didn't predict was that on the way to that success, I would walk a long, hard path littered with flops, fool's errands, fizzles, and straight up failures. As much as anything else, my victories in life accrue from all the many times that I've fallen down, screwed up, acted too hastily, and rejected sage advice. Oh, I've learned some lessons, all right. Painful lessons that were wholly avoidable in some cases. But if there's any single reason outside of faith and family why I've won, it's because of, not in spite of, the fact that I've often lost. Failure has humbled me. Failure has inspired as well as frustrated me. Failure has made me laugh and cry, rage and sigh. But most of all, failure has been my constant teacher, an abundant source for any number of life lessons and laughs that continue to direct my journey and shape my perspective. To be clear, I have failed, but I am not a failure. First, I'm doing what I love, whether it's creating and producing my TV series, Churchy, which is really funny, or shooting a video with my friends, or barnstorming through the stand up circuit. I am fulfilling my deepest passions. Second, I'm getting better because of failure. Like Thomas Edison trying repeatedly to make his first light bulb work, I continue to toil at my craft, touring constantly, editing videos late into the night, tinkering with jokes here, overhauling punchlines there. Not only do I not quit, but I make a point of adapting to adversity as I move forward. I'm not being defined by failure. I'm being developed by it. And despite any success I now enjoy, I have no doubt that I will be failing again in the not too distant future. Matter of fact, now that I think of it, I'm failing right now as I write this. True story. My team on my TV series, Churchy, really funny, I must say, is mad at me right this very moment because I just cost us a ton of money trying to book a location for a shoot. The location fee that was supposed to be somewhere around $2,000 or $3,000 a day went up to $15,000 because I forgot to get a firm quote. I misunderstood what the site rep was saying. So a shoot that was supposed to cost $12,000 for a few days came in at $60,000 and is 100% my fault. I should have hired a location manager, but I made the mistake of thinking I could handle more than the show than I can. If I had a location manager, he or she would have had the time to follow up and get a quote and would have known that the site what the site was going to cost. We could have found another place. I didn't budget for that and thought I could do it myself. I messed up. But messing up is also how we get things done. One of the directors of photography I work with starts off every shoot by saying, "Okay, y'all, let's go make some mistakes." Not let's go shoot or let's go have fun. Let's go make some mistakes. Him saying that sets a great tone. That kind of thinking allows you to prepare yourself to fail because you don't even know what mistakes you are going to make until you make them. All you can really hope for is that you don't make the same mistakes over and over, which I do as well. When my show comes out, all people are going to see is how funny it is and how great it is. They're not going to see the myriad mistakes that I've gone through. You don't learn anything really from doing things right. You learn how to be good by doing things wrong. You learn how to throw touchdowns because you first threw interceptions and incompletions. I can't speak to anyone else's life, but for me, there simply is no success without failure. Nah, hold up. Actually, I will speak to others' lives, at least to a degree. You're going to fail too. Chances are you probably have failed at something already. Matter of fact, you may be failing at something right now while you're reading this. Maybe you're struggling to lose weight or taking too long to pick up a new skill. Maybe you're not finding your ideal job, or maybe you've sucked thus far at that small business you've always dreamed of running. Failure is universal. Failure in this life is like Thanos before the snap. It is inevitable. But what distinguishes those who stay mired in disappointment from those of us who wade through and find success is a willingness to embrace failure, accept its certainty, adapt to its lessons, and understand that failure doesn't mark the finish line. Look, the biggest reason I wanted to write this book is to make you laugh. A lifetime of strange encounters, weird mishaps, and personal flubs is recounted in these pages, and I like to think you get a kick out of at least some of them. So laugh with me, laugh at me. But beyond that, I'm also sharing my story to dispel some misguided ideas I've seen take hold as my generation makes its mad dash to secure the bag. Podcasts, books, YouTube, blogs, and any number of other media are brimming with false ideas about success, creating illusory impressions that it can be achieved overnight or that it can be measured by the commas and zeros in a paycheck. We talk about hustling and grinding as though simply doing will automatically translate into accomplishment. I'm here to remind you that no matter how talented or lucky or connected you are, you will absolutely fall flat on your face at some point. And yes, you should get back up. But on your way back up, you'd better take the time to appreciate why you fell in the first place. No, failure doesn't have to mark the finish, but every bump in the road should bring deeper respect for the journey and thoughtful consideration about the direction you're headed, and maybe a little self awareness too. Failure isn't the end, but neither is success. Each of our journeys is unique and continuous movement through this life, bringing new stages, fresh challenges, and plenty of setbacks. None of it is easy to navigate, which is why you really need to pay attention to the signs. And that is from our first selection, which is um, Successful Failure Lessons Learned Flat on My Face by Kevin Fredericks, also known as Kev on Stage, which who keeps us laughing every single day with something funny that he's doing, or he's watching somebody doing, or he's commenting on what somebody's doing. And so that's our first selection on here, day 10, which is humor. And our next selection is going to be from none other than Country Wayne. Help is on the way. Stay up and live your truth by Country Wayne. And so we will read our selection from his book as well. All right, give me a second. Let me swap over. And we are reading Country Wayne. And it's called Welcome. Growing up in Millen, Georgia, population about 3,500, feels like 350. I never needed to introduce myself to anyone. In pit stop country towns like Millen, most everybody knows everybody. Folks are just naturally nosy, not to mention bored. They get to know your name, the names of your mama, your daddy, your kids, the whole rest of the family, the address where you stay, where you work, what cars y'all drive, and every other kind of whatnot. Now, in the city, in Atlanta, for example, where I spent every summer up until the 10th grade, you learn to introduce yourself right up front, fast. Otherwise, city folk will judge you in a heartbeat. If you don't introduce yourself first, somebody will decide to give you a name and bam, it's stuck on you for good. That's what happened to me in my teens when I started to talk about making it in show business one day. My Atlanta relatives and friends would scoff. They'd say, you too country to make it. That's code for slow. And that's more or less how I got my nickname in my early teens, Country Wayne. The funny part was that in Millen, nobody called me that for years. In the small town way of thinking, sadly, anybody who had serious ambition was just being biggity, like uppity. In fact, they called me City Slick. I was even accused of being too city. That's code for fast. Was I too slow or too fast? Neither if you excuse me, neither if you ask me. So I learned to not care what anyone else had to say. Instead, I took the best parts of being both. At an early age, I became the man in the town. Millen was like my own mini New York City. Once I left my hometown for good and started to get better known in more populated places like Statesboro, Savannah, and Atlanta, I brought the best of the real country with me. One way I did that, first in throwing parties and eventually as a host in my own club, was by introducing myself and going all out to invite people to quote get on down, end quote, as we say in Millen. Get on down is how we make you feel at home and encourage you to set worries aside, at least for the time being. Get on down is the same as saying, come on in, pull up a chair, take a load off, visit, maybe get something to eat, listen to stories, laugh, be entertained, and possibly find new strength to take on tomorrow. So get on down and get comfortable. In other words, welcome. You can call me Country Wayne or Dwayne Colley or KW or just Wayne. Some of y'all might know me from my viral skits on social media where I've made millions of dollars and gained millions of followers and fans in a way that almost nobody can figure out. Hint, it's called an algorithm, and I learned it from studying Albert Einstein, an OG hustler if there ever was one, and I'm happy to share his secrets with you. Some of y'all probably have heard rumors that I have tens of thousands of children, as many kids as David in the Bible had sheep in his flock. Now, that's crazy. Full disclosure, I've got 10 kids at this count. I know you might be wondering, Country Wayne, you're only 34. With all them kids and 5 baby mamas, what's up? The short answer is there was nothing else to do in Millen for fun. The longer answer is I love women, every kind of woman. That's just a fact. Of course, I've also worn a lot of other hats besides being a player and a ladies' man. I'm a former hustler, it's true, but today, in addition to being a stand up comic, I'm a legit entrepreneur with successful businesses and a mess of folks on payroll. I've also been drug and alcohol free all my life. I'm a vegan and I'm an evangelical water drinker. Water is the greatest untold secret to the good life. I concur. If you aren't drinking water right at this minute, go get yourself a pitcher and a glass and start living better now. Also, I'm a rapper, a dancer, an athlete, a model, an actor, a writer, director, producer, a teacher, and a preacher, not to mention a love and prosperity advice guru who reps Jesus and who gives praise every day to God and respect to all people of faith, regardless of your beliefs and religion. Who knows? I might add a few more titles to my resume in the future. Mayor, Oscar winner, real estate developer, and on the personal side of things, maybe even husband. The story is not yet written. For now, making people laugh is my main hustle. Y'all might know that I work clean in comedy. My motto is, quote, I can make your stomach bust and I ain't got to cuss, end quote. Watch out, because I pop waist trainers. Not all the content here is PG though. So be forewarned. Now and then I might get kind of drippy. When that happens, you know what time it is. It's time for the sauce that's got a kick to it. Not too freaky, but enough spice to be real. In those instances, you might hear from some of my alter egos. Characters like my skits, like characters from my skits like Drip and Buddy, who would chime in with their own outspoken grown folk advice. If you're not familiar with him, Drip is a dope dealer trying to get legit as a rapper, but he's still in the streets. Even so, he lives by a code: no guns, no violence. Despite his Cartier diamond eyeglasses and 14 karat gold teeth, Drip avoids flashing too much paper around. On the other hand, there's Buddy, a white haired sugar daddy who has a large roll of hundreds in his pocket and a long list of phone numbers for the lovely ladies he protects from real sex predators. Drip and Buddy are based on aspects of myself and on some of the real life characters I watched growing up. You might say they are who I would have ended up becoming if I hadn't learned the lessons I'm about to share with you all. If I had stopped pushing myself to grow, I could have settled for life as Drip. Sometimes I see him in my rearview mirror, and that keeps me motivated to continue to evolve. Most of us know a buddy or two, the men who pretend to be there for women, but are only really out there for themselves. That's a dead end future in every situation. At the same time, there's a side to Buddy that's refreshing because, like Drip, he knows who he is and who he isn't. Buddy and Drip represent where a lot of us are at different points in our lives. Their examples show us how common it is to be in a place where we shine bright for a moment but soon burn out. Instead, we can choose a more rewarding future by setting foot onto the path where we can sustain our light. Whether or not you have watched my videos or just have heard of me, or you were told by a friend that you had to read this book, and you should. It does not matter. What matters is that you, reader listener, are here, a guest of honor, and that you get the blessings through the lessons I've learned from all that I've worked so hard to attain. They've given me practical guidance that I continue to apply to this day as I work even harder to continue growing and making sure those blessings keep on coming. One of the questions I hear everywhere I go is, Country Wayne, where do you get your drive? What motivates you to go so hard all the time? My answer is simple: child support. That's a joke, but it's true. Child support has a way of making you grind like you could be broke in a week if you didn't. That may be an exaggeration, but I'm here to say that hell hath no fury like a baby mama when her man is late on child support. Trust me on this. If you ever can't find me performing or making videos or out selling books, I'll probably be hiding somewhere in Georgia to avoid baby mama swinging baseball bats at my head. It's a law of the universe. The more success you have, the more your monthly child support goes up. The truth is that my 10 kids are my greatest blessings by far and my most important sources of motivation. That's really the answer to the question I hear most often. How, after everything, did you get out of the mud? From the beginning, I've had faith. It's the same faith my great grandmama, and maybe yours, used to have sitting on her porch, rocking in her chair, drinking lemonade and saying, everything gonna be all right. It's the same faith that convinced me in tough times. Help is on the way, and if I do my part to put in the work, there is more ahead than a small town life. There was a time when everything I thought could destroy me was there to teach me how to do my part before help arrived. These same experiences later turned out to give me superpowers. The lessons I learned took me out of one of the roughest places in America to a richer, fuller, wiser, and more abundant life. And that is what I want for you. Whatever your situation, I've got 14 popping principles and then some, which can be applied immediately to make a difference in your life. These lessons come from my life experiences and from the experiences of members of my family and community. Some of the principles come from observing the paths pursued by successful individuals I've met or read about. After all, they say a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. I also say that other people's lessons can be your blessings too. If that sounds like a hustle, why not check out what's on the menu first? You may have a great life that could be better, or you may have trouble finding hope. The principles I'm here to share are relevant in the best times and the darkest times. They are a proven product. Test them yourself, apply them to your life. Let them be a solution to your problems, a kickstarter to realizing your dreams, and a magnet to bring you the peace, love, and riches that are exactly what's intended for you. You might not need much more than to laugh or cry or feel a boost in your spirit. Maybe you are fed up and want to hear me vent. I got that for you. Maybe you are done being in the street life but can't figure out how to find the exit. Don't worry, I got you. Maybe you had your heart broke, or maybe you are just, or maybe you are, or excuse me, maybe you had your heart broke, or maybe you just are broke. Whatever, know that you are covered here. Help is on the way. And here in these chapters, we create our own luck and our own opportunities and our own story because we can. Bottom line, this is my story, and I made a promise to myself to tell it the way it happened. It's not all squeaky clean or told in a way just to make you laugh, but really to make you think. Both, I hope. We all have the power to choose to make life better, not just for ourselves, but for the world. Even in troubled times, you have limitlessly riches that you don't even know about, but that will be revealed once you learn not to care what anyone else thinks, or how they judge you. You are getting all that in one book. So get on down the way we do in Millen, Georgia. We got Jesus popping, we got the angels popping, and we got your higher power in the universe popping with love for you. Let that sizzle in your spirit. And that is from our selection, our second selection for Humor Day. Help is on the way. Stay up and live your truth by none other than Country Wayne. And this has been our humor selection for today. We had two selections for you. The first, Successful Failure Lessons Learned Flat on My Face by Kevin Fredericks. You've got to read his book. You've got to read both of these. That's my recommendation. But I am telling you, um, they are not just comedians. They are, I think every comedian has to have the ability to tell a story. And when I say they can tell a story, both of these two really can tell a story. And so they're not just humor stories. They are really stories to help. And so you will find between the pages lots of encouragement, I believe, to get out your comfort zone and help make it happen for yourself. And if you can, help make it happen for somebody else, right? And we will see you tomorrow on day 11 of the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. And tomorrow, our selection, our genre, I should say, is, as soon as it pops up for me, da, 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 it is overcoming addiction. And so we will have a selection for you tomorrow on overcoming addiction. And we plan to we had some technical difficulties last night with our Raising Children guest read. And so we're going to attempt that again tomorrow. And we will post when we are ready. We'll post the time that we're going to air it because we really want you to hear this read aloud from the author himself who just released his book. And so he and um, his great help, I'll say, she will be they will be there together. And so we really want to share this with you. And as soon as we know when we'll have it ready for you, we will do that. Okay. And so we'll see you tomorrow. We want you to have a wonderful night full of laughter and full of joy, and have a wonderful rest of the week. We know and we hope you'll be tuning in to our read alouds. We're reading every day. Um, and we want to make sure that we remind you that our read alouds are the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. It is sponsored in part by Ladero Design Works and Fresh Book Festival. And so you can find both online and see what we're all about. And we will see you tomorrow on day 11, Overcoming Addiction. And we hope that you go out and explore, purchase, and read books written by Black people. Written by Black people. Please do that. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye bye.